You can do 3 damage every single turn with the Caraboss. Now, of course, you may not want to do that because you risk decking out or whatever because you're drawing too many cards over, of course, you know, really fast. But it's certainly something that's possible.
All right, so we're jumping into our first game, Shadowshadet versus Akamarured, and we'll see if that blood deck shows up. Now, talk to us a little bit about the mulligan and kind of kick us off here, Exodium.
Sure. So Akamarured, obviously on his dragon deck, Shadowshadet on sword. This is looking like kind of a classic matchup. We've got Ramp Dragon with a new addition of Unica. Normally we don't see Unicas in Dragon. Probably needs to be a little bit more defensive now because Ouroboros doesn't heal anymore. And Shadowshadet playing more of an aggressive sword, maybe even Vagabond Frog, affectionately named Peppo's sword, with a great mulligan. Has a great curve. Dragon also has a great curve. So both of their starting hands looking like they're going to put up a good fight against each other. So.
Well, what I find a little interesting is I'm not too sure that this is Peppo's sword. I think this is more of just a straight up aggro sword. That's it. Like I think it's just we're hitting face a lot, and that's it. But what we see right now is we see Akamarured coming through with a very defensive board. Very, very defensive. What do you think, Exo?
Yeah, Unica into Grimnir is probably one of the best defensive options that a control deck can start with, just because it sets up this, I can gain life, you can't really get past my board, and as we can see right now, it's going to halt Shadowshadet from doing very much at all right now. Can't even do anything.
Right. One of the main points of this particular matchup is that Sword happens to be going second. That played a major role in this board being set up right now because he was not able to get rid of the Unica. He wasn't able to get through the Grimnir, and Dragon is kind of building up a really strong defensive board. Next turn, obviously, Sword does have an opportunity to deal with the walls, like the ward and the Unica was taken care of on its own. But yeah.
Yep, and Shadowshadet is kind of in trouble here. Like, we'll be able to evolve and set up a board that can't be dealt with, essentially, because the Vagabond Frogs will just continue to gain ambush every single turn, which is actually very threatening for Dragon, but because there hasn't been any initial damage done, the Sibyl's going to hit, it's going to run into another Sibyl, into an Israfil, and the Dragon game plan is already set. And Sword, it's really on Sword right now to top deck a lot of Storm and or ways to just continue dealing damage through this board that Akamarured is setting up right now.
Well, he pre-evoed the Sibyl, making it really hard to kill. He's going to have to trade a significant amount of resources in to kill that Sibyl.
Yep, and he might just have to ignore it. I don't know if you can, but we might see something like a shield into an evolved Novice Trooper, which is not what you want to be doing with the Novice Trooper, just to deal with the Sibyl, to have the Vagabond Frogs continue dealing damage, and not be able to be wiped away by something like a Breath of the Salamander, if Akamarured happens to top deck it, something like that. But we might see Conflag. I'm not sure if Conflag is still in the Dragon list, but interested to see.
Well, for those who don't know what Sibyl actually does, and the reason why it's very imperative that Shadowshadet gets rid of it, is Sibyl, at the end of each of your turns when you have Overflow, which means you have 7 or more play points, will heal you for 3. So they kind of have to get rid of it.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so it does deal with the Sibyl. Probably a smart choice. But now he's going to have to deal with another Sibyl backed up by a Unica. What a great top deck by Akamarured here. Really setting up for that end game. Well, and basically forcing Shadowshadet to like trade into this board instead of going face like he wants to.
What's even worse is that on the next turn, Akamarured has access to Israfil if he wants it. So, which could take out if he has a target to attack with the Israfil, which could take out one of these Vagabond Frogs. So
might even take out 2 if the other Vagabond Frog decides to go into the Unica.
True. The thing is, he has to get rid of both the Sybil and the Unica. He can't let it. He can't let both of those sit there. There's just too much life gain.
I really like this new list. So Aya and I, before the stream, were actually talking about how if Dragon was even going to be able to compete in the current metagame. But Unica is definitely a nice little fit. I like what it's doing to Shadowshadet being an aggressive player right now.
All right, so it looks like he's Evo in the Knight. And he's going to take out the Unica. Okay.
Makes sense. Decides not to deal with the Sybil. Yeah.
Which is going to basically wipe away this board with the Sister Fill.
And now we get to see the power of Sister Fill. Gain a bunch of life like everything else that Akamarured's been doing, plus what you're about to see right now. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We didn't even get to see it.
None of this.
We didn't even get to see it. That game was immediately over.
Immediately over, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was an absolute beating on the side of Dragoncraft. Now, one of the things to note, and it didn't really come up, but maybe the deck building kind of encapsulates that. Ouroboros was nerfed so that on its last word effect, it does not provide the healing. Of course, we saw a lot of self-healing there, but Sybil, Unica, Israfil, they've existed in Dragoncraft for a long time now. How does that really affect this decision, do you feel, in terms of this new Dragoncraft deck that was fielded?
I think that's why we're seeing Unica now in Dragon, is because of the Ouroboros change. I don't think we would have seen Unica had that not been the case.
All right, so we're jumping straight into the next game here. Now, Akamarured is going to field his Bloodcraft deck. Guys, do you think Shadowshadet has a chance to take this back here, or do you think it's all for Akamarured now?
I think that Akamarured is at a very distinct advantage, especially based on this hand.
Going first again also, when Shadowshadet is playing a very aggressive deck, probably an ends at 5 type of sword deck, just going second both of these games is not in his favor.
No. And he doesn't seem to have any cards in his hand that is going to, help weather the storm for a few turns. So, yeah, he's going to be taking quite a bit of damage. And
yep. Basically, Akamarured is going to be setting the pace. He is playing an aggro blood version like we were talking about with the top end of Implancer instead of Karabas, so just the old school with Big Knuckle Bodyguard being added to the mix. And just literally just saying, hey, you have to deal with my board, otherwise you're going to die. So basically, again, making Shadowshadet play on the back foot.
Well, there is a bit of an upside. Big Knuckle Bodyguard comes in a little... maybe not. That's because, yeah, the Night Horde definitely takes out something. He also doesn't take damage for that, so there's no need to play that. Another option he had, he could have played the Disagreeable Demon if he wanted, but I like this play a lot more. It actually presents, something on board that Shadowshadet will eventually have to deal with.
Yeah, and Big Knuckle Bodyguard, 2 reasons maybe not to play at that turn. 1, you don't lose any life, and against Sword, you're probably, especially against this aggro Sword, you're going to be taking damage to put you into Vengeance. And secondly, it doesn't give you a target to Evo into. These bats are kind of unassuming, so make the Evo go face, save Big Knuckle Bodyguard to do something like this turn, clear out 2 bigger minions, and then have to be Evo'd into to be dealt with. So I like the position that he put himself in here.
Well, we know that Shadowshadet has the Albert, which I no doubt know. Oh, well, he has 2 of them, so we know that's getting played.
Okay. Well, that might just be it in a nutshell right here. It really depends on if he wants to go for it with these Alberts or if he's going to play defensive here. This could really, basically, make or break the match.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think he can go face with the Albert because we see the Implancer. So the Implancer, if he doesn't trade, then Implancer is going to end this game. Because Akamarured is still sitting on an Evo point.
That's true. He's got to deal with this board.
So he's really taking some time to think about it. I mean, this is a pretty hard decision, especially when, you've been playing from behind the whole game. You're thinking of what will, give you the best chance of actually winning through.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so he's going to play the Albert. Let's see if he decides to go defensive with it or if he just wants to go for the gold here.
A little blood won't stop me.
Okay.
That one didn't count.
Makes the smart choice.
Yeah, that was a very... Oh.
Oh, Caraboss as well as Implanter. Interesting. Okay.
I can dig it.
So now there is an endgame in place, and Akamarured at this point only needs to play defense, because that Caraboss will eventually tick away and potentially draw him into cards such as Razor Claw or something else just to finish the game off after controlling the board for a while.
Right. I mean, he does... Shadowshadet does have Dance of Death that could take care of the Caraboss, and he can play the Ninja Trainee to evolve it to take out the Bat. He's got to start being very more preservative about his life total right now.
Yes. Yes. I really think that Shadowshadet is in the place where next turn White General into the Kanowachi just to get in some damage and maybe finish off the Albert. Finish off with the Albert. And he might have enough time. This is a very basically off the top type of game right now. Who decides to play what and what they get.
I think Shadowshadet seems to be playing to the, Albert late game, which I'm not too sure that you can be doing right now. Like,
yeah, he might not have enough time.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to break through these two, which is going to be incredibly difficult. Yeah, this is going to be very hard.
Yeah, the double taunt from the side of Akamarured right here, really putting the bricks on Shadowshadet's options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And unfortunately, he's going to have to use his Evo point to take out the other disagreeable demon. He's been playing from behind this whole game.
Ooh, so close. Let's see. So he's got 5 damage, 6 damage accessible this turn, but not quite enough. This could easily just go Shadowshadet's way if Akamarured has one misstep here. If he makes one mistake this turn, he is dead. But if he lives past next turn, he wins.
Well, the play here would be Night Horde, the White General, and Angel of the Word face attack.
Yep. Gotta deal with the White General. Yep.
Yeah.
Can't play the Razor Claw.
The order will remain.
All right, excellent line.
Yep, excellent line.
Oh, wow.
Quick Blader off the top or no?
Ooh, nah. Well, yeah, that doesn't work.
Not quite.
Royal Banner.
Not quite.
That's not going to do it, bro.
Royal Banner, for those of you who don't know, is something that you want to see hit play early so that it pumps all of the followers that are played after it. Not a common card that you'll see in a lot of sword lists, but...
Yeah, this game's over. That Midnight Vampire ends the game. There's like so many
Midnight
ways this game is
Vampire, very interesting card to have in this deck.
Yeah, but it won.
It won. Getting the job done. Perfect. So Akamarured taking a very convincing win there.
Akamarured with the aggro bat deck that you actually talked about a little bit with Caraboss is exactly the deck list that showed up. Of course, a few surprises there, a few tech choices that I think obviously worked out in that ending situation, but he had so many options in hand to extend his reach and close out the game. What do you think? I think I want to focus on Shadowshadet's Swordcraft